Hi everyone, welcome to another free family art project. I'm Autumn, the education coordinator for Studio 23. Today we're going to be going through a drawing of Baby Yoda, and I have the example for you right here. So I'm going to be taking you through this example step by step. The only supplies that you need are going to be colored pencils and a sheet of paper. So let's get started. All right, so first things first, you know, if you've watched any of my drawing demos, you know that I like to fold my paper in half, both widthwise and lengthwise. Because it makes it so much easier to figure out where you're drawing stuff when you have these little quadrants, okay? And then also today, we're gonna be holding our paper landscape, not portrait, but landscape, okay? All right, so let's get started. To draw this out, I'm gonna start with Baby Yoda's head, okay? And if you look at the example, you'll see that this is just sort of a C shape. And we're gonna start with his head. And then this is a little bit of a smile. Then we're gonna do his ears and then move on to his body from there, okay? So, let's start with Baby Yoda's head. I'm gonna take my green colored pencil and I'm just gonna make a C shape. And if it's easier for you, you can turn your paper on its side while you draw it. But I'm gonna start probably right around where I made that, that middle line, right? And I'm just gonna go out, maybe for me it's about 3 finger widths, I'll say, on each side. Okay, so if that kind of gives you an idea of how big we're gonna make it. So I'll start right about here, and we're just gonna make a C shape. And I think we want Baby Yoda to have a nice big head, so I think we'll probably come to maybe about 2 finger widths from the top of the paper, okay? All right, so let's darken it. We got our C shape. Let's darken it. All right, we got our C shape. Now we just need to add a little line on the bottom to close it off. But we want this line to be a little bit of a curved line, so it's gonna look like just a tiniest bit of a smile, and it's gonna go all the way across from one side to the other. Miss Sue says, cute. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. There we go. A little bit of a curved line on the bottom, and that's gonna be Baby Yoda's head, okay? So now let's move on to his ears. And Baby Yoda has some pretty big ears. But you love Baby Yoda? I do too. I think Baby Yoda is so cute. That's why I wanted to do a really basic version of him today. All right, so for his ears, we want his ears to come out to probably about here and here in these top 2 quadrants. And if you want, if it helps, you can even make a little teeny tiny mark so you know how far you want his ears to go out. Sometimes if you make a little mark, it kind of helps you figure stuff out. Okay, so what we're gonna do from there is we're gonna start maybe right about here, so maybe about 2 finger widths from the top of his head, and we're gonna make a curved line that almost looks like a smiley face to this point. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Curved line going up to that first point. Okay, there's the start of his ear. We're gonna do the same exact thing from the other side. We wanna go maybe from right about the same point on the opposite side, and we wanna do that curved line up to that point, okay? So we got Baby Yoda ears starting. Now from there, we wanna do a tiny curved line, just a tiny curved line. And it almost looks like a little tiny frown face on each side, okay? So we got our little tiny frowns. And then from there, we're gonna make the big line underneath that connects to the head. So we're gonna go down and over to connect to the side of the head and make another big, even bigger smiley face on each side, okay? And we want that probably to end right, we'll say right about here. And so again, if you want to mark it off where you want that line to end, just so it helps you, go right ahead. See how I did that there? And we're just going to make another smiley face line. Just like that. Same thing on the other side. All right. Starting to look a little bit like Baby Yoda. Now we just need these curved lines right here so we can kind of give the idea of that fold that goes over Yoda's ears. Okay, and that's just going to be another curved line from the tip of his ear all the way to his head. And we'll do the same thing on each side. We'll go, and that's going to, and that kind of curves in a couple different directions. It kind of curves one way and then the other. Let's see. So we'll go, and that's kind of making a smiley face, and then it kind of starts to turn to a frown curve, just like that. Same thing on the other side. Kind of making a smiley face, and then it kind of curves down to a frowny face. All right? So we got our Baby Yoda ears, we got our head. I think we can move on to his face. So Baby Yoda's eyes are noticeably low on his face. And we want to do that on purpose, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go down probably, for me, it's going to be about 2 finger widths down, from the bottom of his face. Okay, that's how I'm going to figure out where I want to put his eyes. And they're probably just about 2 finger widths wide. So he's got some pretty big eyes, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go, I'm going to mark off little points where I want his eyes to go, just so I have an idea. So I'm going to do a dot here, and a dot here, and a dot here, and a dot here. That's a little guide for me. That will help me know where I want the bottom of his eyes to be. And the bottom of his eyes are simply little happy face curves, right? They're just little curves going up. So we'll just, and it's really slight. They're not really big smiley faces. They're just very slight. Okay. There's one eye. There's the other. All right. Now for the top of his eyes, they're just going to be really big, sad faces that connect from one side to the other. Okay, that's how we're going to make his eyes. There we go. And if we need to make any adjustments along the way, it's colored pencil, so you can always do that. Like one of my eyes looks like it might need to be a little bit bigger. There we go. All right, so we got our Baby Yoda head happening. He needs a little nose, and all that is if you go right in between his eyes and just a little bit underneath, we're gonna do a little frowny face. Just a tiny little frowny face. And that's gonna be his cute little Baby Yoda nose. Okay? And then underneath that, we're going to put his mouth. Misty says, I know, yes, I do know that you love Baby Yoda. I was hoping you would catch this today, too. Not that you haven't painted him like 10 times over. So now we're going to do Baby Yoda's mouth. And Baby Yoda doesn't really have a smile. Not sure if that's because he's a baby. Maybe Miss Misty has a little insight for us. I know she's a big fan. But so what we're gonna do is we're gonna give him just a slight frowny face. He's not sad, he's not mad, he's just doesn't really have a smile. So we're just gonna go right under his nose, but we want it to be bigger than his nose, and we're just gonna do a little bit of a frowny face. Just a little bit. He's not mad, he just has a little bit of a frowny face. All right? And then we need the little Baby Yoda wrinkles. So we're gonna do more frowny faces, but we're gonna do them above the eyes, okay? So we're gonna go from one side to the other, and from one side to the other so we can start to make some of these little eye folds. All right, we got that. One more little one on each side, little frowny faces. He's 50 years old and has been through a lot. Oh, poor Baby Yoda. He's seen some things. All right, so we got, thank you, Miss Misty, for that. So we got his little folds going in his eye. I think he also needs some pupils though, let's not forget that. So we'll give him some pretty big circles in his eyes, okay? So we can have his iris and his pupil. So here's his irises, and then in the top corner on each one, I'm gonna do a little tiny circle so we don't forget to make that little reflection. So inside the circle, we're gonna do little tiny circles. So he'll have a reflection in his eye. Just like that. So that's where we are now. All right, so next step, we need to move on to his body. And we'll just do some curved lines to do that, to do the top part, I don't know what you want to call that, the cowl of his dress, I guess. We need to do some lines to create that. And how we're going to do that is we're going to make curved lines going down, and then we're going to connect them, okay? So, let's see. Let's go into this side, and we're going to do a curved line, and I'm probably going to go down, I'll say about 3 fingers width for me. Might be a little different for you, but it's going to be a curved line around about 3 fingers width on this side. Same thing on the other side, okay? So we can start making his clothing, just like that. Now, if you look at Baby Yoda's outfit, this is not even, right? But that is on purpose, because that's how Baby Yoda's outfit looks. So what we're going to do is we're going to extend one side of those curved lines that we just drew just down a little bit more, maybe just like 1 finger width, okay? And then we're going to draw a curved, like a smiley face curved line going into the middle. And we're going to stop it right about halfway, all right? So curved line, and we're going to stop it just right there, all right? So if you're following along, it should look something like this. From there, we're going to do a curved line going from that line we just made up to his face, up to that line that makes his face. And that's going to be another curved line, okay? Pretty simple. Just like that. Then from there, we're going to make another smiley face curved line going straight in on the opposite side there, okay? And if you did it right, his collar won't be even, but we want that on purpose. All right, so from there, I'm gonna go in about 1 finger width from the outside, okay? And I'm gonna even mark it off so I can start to make his clothes, like the cloak that he's wearing. All right, so I got my little lines, so I know where I want it to be, because I don't want it right to the edge, because we have to still give him arms, right? All right, so I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna do a line all the way down to the bottom of my paper. And I'm kind of going out a little bit as I draw that line, because I want it to look like his cloak is kind of flowing. All right, we got that. Now we're gonna do a couple of rectangles on each side to create his arms. And I'm gonna go probably, maybe not quite halfway down his body. But I have 2 rectangles making his body. We're gonna give him little cuffs for his sleeves, and those are just little squares, okay? And I'll do mine with curved lines, but you could do it just squares if you want. Okay, so now we got the cuffs to his sleeves. And then for hands, we're simply gonna make a curved line from his sleeve cuffs to his cloak on both sides, just like that. You could give him, like, put a line to give the idea of fingers if you want. That's entirely up to you. All right, So I think we have our Baby Yoda drawn out. From there, you're just gonna wanna color him in. Now, you could use anything you want to color him in. You could use colored pencils, you could use watercolor paints, you could really just use just about anything. And I'm just gonna scribble this in really quickly for the sake of time. But I'm sure when you're coloring in your Baby Yoda, you're gonna take your time and make him look good, right? If you take all that time drawing it, you want it to look good, right? All right. You probably want to color in his body, or excuse me, his hands, his head, and his ears green. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe Miss Misty could tell us, but I think his outfit is maybe like brown and tan, something like that. So we'll color in his hands. And if you're using colored pencil, this would be a good time to practice your shading. So if you wanted, you could add like more colors. Like here, I'm gonna add a little bit of a darker green to kind of give the idea of shading and modeling. All right. You could use a light color or a white to do some blending, entirely up to you. Let's see, I think I'll use, well, I'll have to use a dark blue. I don't see a black to color in his eyes, but I want to avoid that little circle I made because that's gonna be the little reflection in his eyes. Color that in. And just to make his eyes nice and dark, I'll do some brown over top of it too. If you don't have a black or a really dark brown, that's a nice way to try and make something, is to do a dark brown and a blue together. Especially if you like you're using paint, you're making like a chromatic black. So if you don't have black, try that, see if it works for you. All right, so we have some dark eyes happening. And then I think if we just color the bottom of his cloak brown, I think we'll be in good shape. Again, you could also practice your blending if you're using your colored pencils or really any medium. You could put some lighter color in here, some tan or some yellow to see what you ended up with. For the top part of his cloak, I think I'll just use some yellow. All right. Do his sleeves. All right. I think our Baby Yoda is looking pretty good. The last thing that you're gonna wanna do before you finish this is color in some kind of background. And I think on my original, I gave him like a desert kind of colored background. If you check it out and see, I did some browns and some yellows down here. And then for the sky, I put like oranges and reds just to kind of try and give the idea that he was maybe in some kind of desert planet. So this is our Baby Yoda that we're drawing. I hope that you show us your example if it's something that you follow along with. We would love to see it. As always, if you do, just include the hashtag Studio23 on the go or hashtag MakeArtVirtual. And otherwise, we will see you tomorrow with another project. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.